Our existence as human beings will always be accompanied with some inescapable responsibilities: food, family, friendships, you name it. The outcomes of our certain actions will always remain necessary forces of support for our loved ones. In order to ensure their healthy state of well being, sometimes we are compelled to engage ourselves into doing something which is more fruitful in terms of just earning bread and butter. We don't really get excited or feel energetic in our daily lives. We just keep doing it for the sake of survival, which is why we have that saying: doing something you love makes you happy. Doing what you love gives you freedom. Every one of us have that one spark of happiness that is triggered whenever we indulge ourselves into doing what we truly love. Then, with the passage of time, this spark of happiness takes the shape of passion. But what if this passion becomes the reason for remorse? What if doing something you love leaves you struggling for freedom? What if this passion destroys your spirits and compels you to question your willingness to succeed? Written and directed by Chaitanya Tamhane, The Disciple is a hard hitting character study of one such individual who could never experience that freedom even after doing what he loved the most. This film documents the story of Sharad Nerulkar, a highly ambitious learner of Indian classical music who has dedicated almost 20 years of his life to achieve the pinnacle of excellence in this field. And since he belongs to a family of well known musicians, he also wants to join those ranks and flourish as the rightful heir of his illustrious family legacy. We all are aware of the age old saying that practice makes a man perfect, but in the case of Sharad, he practices not just to become perfect, but to become one with the rags. For him, this aspiration of honing the craft has become equivalent to attaining a state of enlightenment. He wants to venture towards the deepest trench of the ocean of Hindustani classical music, which is why he has immersed himself into a world full of sacrifices. The narrative of the disciple has been divided into three parts, and every part covers a particular stage of Sharad's life. The film begins with Sharad being 24 years old, a stage when most of us start figuring out what to do with our lives. But that is not the case with Sharad, as he has already begun his relentless pursuit of discovering the secrets of Hindustani classical music. He has started living with his grandfather, Pandit Vinayak Pradhan, as his disciple. At such young age itself, Sharad has realized that perfecting this craft demands endurance and perseverance, and he is devoting every bit of his time to ensure complete submission of his energies in order to become a skilled musician. He is enduring, he is persevering. He is trying to preserve the sanctity of this music with his vehement efforts. He never lets his mind get contaminated with anything that attacks the purity of this craft. He believes that he is among those very few sets of practitioners who have not let go of their utmost respect for Hindustani classical music. But then, his unblemished honesty towards the craft starts becoming a joke in front of the world. Self confidence gets replaced with self doubt. This musical asset that has gifted his family unmatched recognition starts becoming an unexpected obstacle in the journey of Sharad. Unlike his grandfather, he starts losing the opportunity to represent his melodious heritage and receives an unnerving pushback while attempting to perform in front of an audience. Sharad's family legacy has been shaped by the valuable teachings and guidance of Sindhubai Jadhav, who was the one and only musical maestro of her time. She did not prefer to perform in front of an audience and chose to remain behind the curtain. But somehow, Sharad gets access to the only remaining evidence of her teachings in the form of audio clips. There are a couple of scenes in this film that depict Sharad listening to those audio clips while riding his bike. These scenes help in representing those moments of his journey where he feels clueless and the voice of Sindhubai acts like a guiding force for him. The voice of Sindhubai is the mentor for our protagonist Sharad, who keeps meandering through his life searching for the truth about himself and the music. This cinematic journey enters a midpoint, takes a giant leap, and then we are introduced with a 36-year-old Sharad Nerulkar. He now owns his stage and a music academy. His willingness to endure and explore the world of classical music has definitely rewarded him with some accolades. And yet, he still continues to be relentless. He is still that obedient disciple of his grandfather who takes care of him and follows his footsteps. He still devotes every bit of his life. He still hasn't stopped his vehement efforts. He still continues to respect the purity of the craft. He hasn't moved ahead like the others. He still rejects the possibility to try his hand on a different platform. He knows that the outside world will never fully regard his skills. He is still hungry and lonely. He is still a disciple and not the master of music. But for how long can someone choose to sacrifice everything? How long can the urge to experience true freedom be controlled by conventional tenets? Such principles that require a complete abandonment of worldly pleasures can surely inculcate a sense of discipline in our lives. But what is the real benefit of these principles if you don't experience fulfillment? Doing what you love gives you freedom. But if that feeling of love is not mutual, you are left with no choice but to let it go. With a series of flashbacks, the audience is made to realize how Sharad Nerulkar's journey to discover truth began at a very young age. He accepted the presence of music in his life, acknowledged its significance, and reshaped his career goals accordingly. But now, after coming close to his midlife, music has dejected the enthusiasm of Sharad. This craft has now begun to declare him incapable of mastering it. Hence, Sharad is left with no option but to move on with his life. It's time for him to accept the real truth about his life. It's time to choose the real peace of mind and no longer live being the disciple. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting this channel even when I am unable to post regularly. But I'm trying my best and I hope you like the efforts. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about The Disciple, and I will be back soon with another one. Till then, my name is Porush. Thank you so much for watching. Long live cinema. You can support this channel by hitting the red subscribe button and pressing the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates.